Welcome to The Vault with Financielle. This is a safe space where we talk all things life and money and no topics are off limits. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There's nothing much else you can say other than good morning. Good morning.
I always think, like in school, good morning,
Yeah.
Mrs.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, sing song. At our children's school, sometimes they go, Buenos dias, senora.
Oh.
My school was Bore da.
Oh, the Welsh are here.
Yeah.
Bore da.
Where I live, it's very close to the Welsh border, and sometimes I go on runs and I'm like, yeah, I've run to Wales. Ran to another country today. It was like down the road.
Back.
Yeah.
I'm back. Yeah.
From the front door.
That is
It's like
bragging
4K.
rights. Bragging rights. You're allowed.
International queen.
International running queen.
Whereas, like, I mean, Europeans, that must happen all the time. Like,
I
you
know,
live on
yeah.
the holiday,
Actually.
like, Belgium, France, Belgium, France,
Yeah.
Belgium, France.
I remember just driving from France to Belgium and I was like, why is no one stopping us?
Yeah, I always
We were
think
not
that.
stopped, didn't need the passport, didn't need anything. I was like,
You've got island mentality, which is
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
get
yeah,
off the island.
It's true, isn't it? We don't have a border, so
Yeah.
obviously we do to Wales and Scotland and Ireland and stuff, but not Ireland. Wales and Scotland, but I just couldn't believe that we were just we could have just reversed
Like-
and then reversed.
Like,
and then
Lucy
reversed.
can go over
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Wales.
When I was about 5, I fell asleep on the school bus home and I woke up in Germany. But I lived in
Oh
Holland.
wait, let's give context.
You were in Wales at the time.
I was like, oh no. And I had to do the whole bus like route round in Germany and then go. They were like, okay, we'll take you back to Holland.
So you lived in Holland when you were younger,
Yeah.
and then you fell asleep on the
Crucial
bus. and ended
content.
up-
I just assumed everyone would
I was
know.
like, whoa, you really did fall asleep.
It was a long
On a
sleep.
ferry.
Yeah. So you fell asleep in Holland and woke up in Germany.
Yeah.
Oh,
Imagine the phone
that's a
call to
cry,
mum.
innit?
I'm
That's
not
got
in
a
the
cry.
country.
That you'd
you
cry.
left the country? Oh, I'd
on
cry
holiday.
if I was on
Mr.
the bus
Stop.
from Warrington and it ended up in St Helens or something.
Like now. Should do that now.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a controversial opinion, which I think is a pretty good one this week. You should not be exchanging money with children for doing chores.
Ooh.
I feel like you're coming at the parents with the like
Yeah, recently.
children's ones the past few weeks.
I'm so spoiler. Laura and I have actually talked about this before, and I had I was mixed. I had a leg in both camps.
I was firmly in one.
Go on,
Really?
you do yours.
No, you shouldn't.
Give
Really?
children money for chores in
Shouldn't
exchange
give-
for chores.
It's like for me, the two separate things. So I'm soft on the kids. So Carl doesn't listen to the vault, so we're fine. Neil, don't channel it back to him or anything. But I think children should help out around the house and they should understand what goes into running the house. And the reason I say this is like Carl is OCD, like he'll definitely more active around the house than I am, and I'm fine with this like role split, definitely. And I sometimes like I would rather do something than the kids do it sometimes. So like Carl will like, hey, Eva, come. I'm like, I'll do it. I'm next to you. Like I'll help. Like I'm here. But and he's passionate about it, and I definitely am about getting them to help out bits and bobs, understand like how the whole thing puts together. The whole jigsaw of running this house is not things don't magically happen. We take time to do things, and can you help? And there's two reasons. One, obviously, like it's the family home. Like we don't just wait on your hands and foot. But secondly, we're trying to make them into good big people. And I saw something once actually on TikTok, which was a guy saying like his family had never taught him how to look after himself, and his roommate's at college mum once came around and taught him how to clean, and taught him how to like do his washing, and he was like, I'd never had that. And suddenly I was like, whoa, these are big, overwhelming things. And whereas his roommate had been slowly, gently taught how to do it. And so the house chore thing for me is about all pitching in and learning yourself what it takes to take care of yourself, whether it's the house, whether it's hygiene, whether it's like meal prep, whether it's stuff like that.
without dangling a carrot of money.
Do it for
being
some
the
money.
reward. I get that.
So then the other side of it is obviously this is financial, like money and teaching kids about money is really, really important. And we actively discuss the budget in front of children. We tell them when we can't afford things. So we say, no, like we can't afford that. It's like we'll say like, do we need to make more money if we could do that? And I'm like, yes. Or
do we need a side hustle, Mum?
Yeah. Or there's something else that we would rather spend it on. Would you rather have this than that? So having those active conversations, and then the other element to managing money is they get, as a family, we invest in our junior ISAs every month where possible. Family, when they're gifting them money, they can choose how much of it they put into the ISAs, and they're watching that grow. So I feel like this is a personal thing. This is absolutely no judgment. In my family, for the moment, we feel like we've got the right balance where we don't tie money to chores. And I rest my case.
Yeah, no, and I get that because I've got 2 boys, so I'm like overly conscious that they are independent humans, because notoriously, like the example that you used, I do not want them to get in a relationship when they're older, whether it's with a man or a woman, and their partner be resentful of them because they don't know how to put a wash on, or they don't,
or like weaponizing competence. Why do I do that?
Or they don't think to pick the boxes up off the floor, because by God, if Teddy gets ready for football, it looks like he lives in a crack den. I will have tied it in the day, and then he'll go, like literally yesterday I came home and he went to football,
like,
and I was like, what happened? Like, genuinely, did someone get robbed or wrestled or something? Because there's like Teddy has a thing where he like kicks his boxers off. Like if you're not watching on YouTube, he does a well, I would love it if he did catch it, but he just kicks his boxers up in the air and 10 times, and then he'll get to the end of the week and I'll be like, why have we got there's no fresh like boxes coming through this wash white, and then I will look behind his wardrobe and they're all going to the same. There's like 10 pairs of boxes behind the wardrobe, so I've stopped that, or tried to stop it.
Basketball hoop above the laundry basket.
Yes, that's true.
That's a good idea.
That's true.
Make it into a game.
I might do that for myself.
Yeah.
Lydia's like, because when I did that,
Yeah.
I didn't really help.
My hack is, but I don't want them to anyone be resentful, and I just want them to be independent, look after themselves, know how to clean, know how to do everything. So in my head, as they were growing up, I was thinking, so we'll obviously do pocket money in exchange for like chores, but I kind of get where you're coming from. It shouldn't be chores, it should just be pick your shit up.
Yeah.
Put your things in the wash, bring your plate back to the table. Like that you shouldn't be rewarded monetary value for that. So I feel like you might have swayed me there, actually. But a lot of people come to us and ask us for pocket money, like platforms in which to give their money. They want children to handle money at a young age.
And guidance.
Which I get, because they want them to understand, you've only got £10 left. What do you want to spend it on? Do you want to save it? Do you want to invest it? Whatever. The kids want to be able to see the money, and it's really hard because we're not really a cash.
That's why the JISA helps, because you can see it going up and down.
Yes.
I would imagine some people might say it's really helpful for teaching them that if you work hard, you can get paid for it.
Yes.
This is what a job's like. I do understand that, and maybe it's for extra chores. Maybe it's
something out the ordinary.
We're going to go clean the cars.
Yes.
Do you want to come help me? And then there's like a reward. It's a nice
like your everyday stuff that you should just be doing without. Because I don't get paid to put the wash on.
No,
I don't get paid to empty the dishwasher. You're like, but. Yeah, if you something extraordinary, like we're going to clean the windowsills outside, we're going to do like clean the car, like
something that maybe you might have paid someone else to do. You might have gone and paid for a valet and instead we're going to do it ourselves. And
I'm never going to let them mow the lawn. I can't mow lawn. I've tried so many times, and I'm like, I have massive respect for gardeners. Neil gets so. Have you ever tried to mow a lawn with a lawnmower, an electric one? Have you?
Your husband used ours once and
broke it. Well, Neil's not got a good record with lawnmowers or trimmers.
Given he used to, his first job was, apart from being a rugby player, was a lawnmower, like a council, a ride-on one.
It was his
he used to do my grandma's
favourite job to this day. I'm like, no wonder, because he used to play bowls and not do very much else and have hot brews made from all the old ladies and sit with the old men and have a chat. But Neil has a habit of cutting through wires. Live wires, so like I'm trimming a hedge,
No,
cut through the wire.
Carl got a brand new lawnmower and Neil borrowed it before Carl had a chance to use it, and we didn't pay extra for the cordless, which on reflection we should have done anyway, and we didn't. And Neil borrowed it and he mowed over the cord. But he said, "Don't worry, Peter,
Probably.
Which is the next door neighbour.
I've got 3 Peters on the street, so."
Peter fixed the wire.
Yay.
God, imagine Carl like first
OCD.
go at the toy that you've just bought.
And then his dad, he went through the live wire of his dad's, and then he's done it to another lawnmower as well. He's not got a good track record, is what I'm trying to say, but it's actually really
It is
difficult.
hard in
So I
his defense.
highly respect gardeners, and I would not let my child touch it.
I remember begging my parents to get a ride-on lawnmower.
Did you have an empire, like a farm?
No. It was my dream. I think we'd have gone on holiday and I'd seen one and I was like, wow.
Not a quad bike, a lawnmower.
Listen, so if you
Practical
fancy a
and fun.
summer weekend job where, like, some Saturdays and Sundays,
please.
you might have a council that needs you'll get bruised.
Oh, they won't work on the weekend.
Oh, it
No
sounded like they
chance.
used to finish quite early.
If it was a hint
you
of
liked the job
rain,
'cause you didn't have
it
to
was like,
mow.
right, guys, back to the headquarters. Neil was like, I've finished for the day. I'm like, it's 8 a.m. He's like, yep,
It's
that's how
raining.
it goes.
It's England. It's raining.
Yeah. Great
What
job.
was the, we're talking about kids and money. Right, okay. I am super keen to hear from people on this one. Like, message in to us. And they said, Laura, like my personal email address.
Please don't give me my personal email address out. Although it wouldn't be hard
Here's
to crack
my
the
phone
code.
number.
thevault@financielle.com. But tell us what you might have been someone who got pocket money connected to chores and you found it motivated you, and it might have started the entrepreneurial streak in you. It taught you you might have done it with children. Let us know, because because we have this perspective doesn't, obviously we're always right, but it doesn't mean there's another way as well sometimes.
I like it. Okay. Dilemma number 1. Holidays are the new car finance. I keep hearing people say holidays are the new car finance, and I'm really starting to feel it myself. Travel has always been my favourite way to spend and save. It's the only thing that keeps me going some months. But recently, I feel like every holiday I book is more expensive, and I'm having to pay for them in instalments, sometimes well after the trip is over. The last few trips, I've had to rely on credit just to make them happen, and I'm not sure if I should even be prioritising this anymore. I'm stuck because travel is so important to me, and I don't want to give it up completely, but I also hate the feeling of holiday debt hanging over me. It's the time of year where I normally go a little bit holiday happy and book my travels for the year. Any advice on how to manage travel as a sinking fund without it draining my finances or leaving me with post-holiday guilt?
Hold on for this one. Just hold on. Everyone hold on. Because we are the travel people. Like, we like this is our bag. This is going to be it's going to be controversial. And so, yeah, fully transparent. Love traveling. Worked in travel. Was spoiled with some trips to some amazing places that then absolutely skewed my perspective on what normal travel is. Okay, so a full disclosure on that. And we are also the some of us, the millennial Instagram generation of like travel and escapism and
Wanderlust. That's what
Oh my God. In the,
Instagram hashtag Wanderlust.
the glittery writing.
yeah. But the domes of the Santorini, that doesn't look like that when you get there, but you just see a few
you've got a
domes and
queue.
like there's a queue of people and the Lake Como, like everyone's going, like the Maldives, like the slides into the ocean. We worked in travel, like we know what's trying to be
sold the
presented.
dream.
We have, and
lived it.
and we've bought into it as well. Much less so more recent years, where actually what we value is warmth and sunshine and time with family and time switching off. And that has meant compromises on the quality sometimes of what we do. Like like you want the bougie stuff, and now you accept actually that
Something's got to give sometimes.
Something's gotta
Especially
give,
when
like
your
it is a
family
budget.
grows. Like
Yeah.
you've got to pay for three
There's 5
children,
of us.
5 plane
You
seats.
can't always go 5 plane
Yeah.
seats,
Oh my
and you
gosh.
can't and like the room situation is hard in some hotels and things. And so we've been sold this dream, and everyone on Instagram's traveling. And so it becomes quite normal to have the city break and the beach holiday and the aesthetic beach holiday and then the girls trip. And it kind of like some of these influencers that we're following, they were gifted, like they did not pay for the trip. Whereas we're sat there when she talks about holidays and like plural, like it's
Yeah.
the holiday planning time. And I get it because we go on multiple holidays, we do. But this is where the big book comes in. So I've had like the big caveats and the big disclosures. you need to pay for it with cash. I don't care if you pay for it on a card and then pay it off in full. Like, I'm not here for that debate right now. But if you are paying for a holiday in installments, including after the trip, you've overpaid. Can't afford it. And this is where actually, and I've not heard that point about it being like the new car finance, but I understand it. The industry, the travel industry, but definitely like the social media more than travel has pushed this. Travel has benefited from social media being so like, let me do my Snapchat, let me do my Instagram, let me show you where our travels were. Car finance helped to make expensive cars accessible. So people suddenly started to buy cars way more expensive than they could afford because they felt like they could afford it because it was paying for it monthly. And people didn't contemplate the fact that they were overpaying for a car. They were buying a car too expensive. They were overpaying for that, paying for it full whack, no discounts. And then they were paying for the finance, like one, two, three.
Yeah.
And this has started to happen with travel because it's kind of like, well, this is what I want to do. And I'll just kind of put it on a card.
I'll work backwards. Yeah, like where do I want to go? I want to go to Thailand. It's got to be minimum X. Whereas it's like, no, how much can we afford to spend on holidays this year? Like if you're a proper financially, you kind of have an understanding. And sometimes it might work the other way actually, where you go, okay, where do we want to go? And how much will that be? And then model it backwards. Does it fit in our budget?
Go,
yeah, like, so many times me and Neil have been like, we're going to go. We're going to do a little, even, we've got some family holidays booked this year and we were like, oh, we would like to fit in a London trip with the kids. Like for years, they've had this amazing book that we've got and they love to look through all the iconic
one. What's the pairs
things.
Game they always play? What's
like
the London
Snap,
game?
There's like a London Snap game.
God,
they played a memory game.
Sure.
So we've, for some reason, we've accumulated quite a few London-esque like games, books, and they've just got a real fascination of like, I want to see the Tower Bridge, I want to see Buckingham Palace, like all that stuff. So Neil was, we've kind of picked our holidays for this year, got our sinking funds, we're paying stuff off, there's deadlines coming up for like final payments, like we've got to get it all in order, get the budget sorted for the full year. And then Neil's like, oh, we might just do a London trip. And I'm like, hang on a minute. I'm like, a London trip is quite expensive. For us, we've got to get either four trade tickets or drive and park, which is not cheap in itself. Accommodation's ridiculously expensive in London. If we want to do big iconic things, it's going to be ticket costs.
Oh, they're
expensive. If there's a theatre, eating out. I was like, that for a family of four, if you're going to do it properly, I'm going to put it out there. People will be like, you can't do it for that. If you want to do it properly, $1,000.
I was going to say more.
Yeah. On top,
Possibly.
if you've got to pay for 4 train tickets or
I'm like, let's get on let's do a tour bus.
They're going to want...
Oh my God, they're expensive.
Yeah, they're going to want shitty merch. Like, I'm incorporating all those little things. Like, you want to go to...
And you like your food. So if you're going to go to London,
you're going to go somewhere nice. Yeah.
So we... it's very easy flippantly to go, oh, we're going to chuck a London trip in as well. And I'm like, probably can't afford that. But it's because we've done years of...
Yeah.
Where do we want to go? How much? We already have an idea in our head. Like we've got a notes list in our phone because people forget the little trips in between. So like, oh, we're going away for a weekend, or it's someone's birthday and we're staying away for the night in Manchester or London, whatever it might be. We include all that in our holiday funds, and every month I go to Neil, I think we need to up the holiday fund because I don't want to be left at the end of the year with. I don't want to be paying stuff after the fact. Like, I want to.
We don't. Like, so you don't use credit. So you're like, I can't.
Well, we can't. Yeah. So I go, like, can we go through it again? And every month, a really good idea is write all the holidays you want to go on and don't
Price
just write. And write in your notes,
expenses.
add them all up, and then put in how much are we going to spend on the taxi. That's a big one.
Oh my God, yeah.
To and from the airport in the UK. And then when you get there, people forget to do transfers. They forget to holiday. Airport money is free money. Mm-hmm. It isn't real. People go crazy. We go in Pret. I've seen people getting the nails done, like in the airport.
That stresses me out.
Stresses me out. But it's just not real money. The kids are asking for sweets. It's like £4 for a packet of wine gums in WH Smith's. Why?
And again, we say this as people that do it, but we pay. It's in the budget.
It's in the budget.
And then something has to not happen.
Yeah.
Like we were trying to, again, we're really super, super fortunate. Lots of planning goes into paying for our travel, but there were years when we didn't do anywhere near as much. And then there's also been quite a few compromises this year. For example, I really wanted to go to a particular hotel for Carl's 40th in Ibiza. I didn't want to do like a big party holiday, and I even mentioned it to a couple of friends being like, if we book this, like, do you guys all fancy it? Like I dropped it in, priced it up, and even though it was a push, I hadn't contemplated what it cost to lie on a sunbed there.
Yeah.
Never mind buy a Diet Coke there or a water. And it just it really, you sit there and you go, no, it's not worth it. And we've ended up, we're doing something completely different for the cost. We're doing an all-inclusive 4 days somewhere for the same price as just the hotel and hotel and flights were. But we had to compromise on it. But if it was, and we'll put it on a card and pay it off after, no, don't go.
Yeah.
And we've always been that way. And there's something like when you commit to doing it that way, you just adjust your budgets that way. You still have to still obviously make sure that you're investing. You still make sure you do those things. And if you're in a debt payoff journey and you're in Survive, it's a different game altogether.
Yeah.
But it is this practical debate around, can I afford it? Am I willing to pay cash for it? It doesn't have to be at the beginning because, again, there can be deposit now and, you're going to have these due dates and you can build up to it. And different things are due at different times. This is why, getting a notes page is really, really helpful to plan ahead for it. But if you think, if you can't pay for it with cash that you have or plan to have as you save up, can't afford it.
Yeah.
It is a new car finance. You're buying something too expensive.
It's a sinking funds argument. During people will get a lot of dilemmas in and people will be like, how can I get ahead on my sinking funds? Because I feel like you've got to plan a year and a half ahead a little bit. Double. You might have to go without for the first 6 months to get ahead so that you can this year, at the end of this year and then next year, have a holiday paid for. Do you know what I mean? We've had to work in advance to pay for everything because you pay for it before you go. So you have to get ahead on your sinking funds.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'll feel like you're doubling up, trying to get there. That's what we felt like last year anyway.
It's really hard.
It's
like, and I said, we're saying it from a position of privilege, but if you want to feel good on these holidays and if you want to regret being there and if you don't want to have this, we call it the hangover, the financial hangover that you have when you use credit for things, then a couple of sacrifices, a couple of years and leaning in and then saving up in advance, you do get ahead and I promise you enjoy it more.
Imagine if the weather's shit and you paid and you still paid it. The Maldives this year on it. If
Oh my
everyone
God,
was on
over
Maldives
New Year's, it was bad,
TikTok
wasn't it?
over
I've
New
not
Year's.
seen.
What? Maldives TikTok. So I felt horrendously bad for all these people. Other people were relishing in the misfortune of the people that travelled to the Maldives over peak. So it would have been, I'm talking,
it was
rocket
Christmas
prices.
Day, Christmas Day, Boxing Day,
over New Year's. It was washout.
Torrential.
So it was I was watching Maldives TikTok and it was people just being like, it's day 7. We're still not being able to get into the ocean.
These people could have saved up
for a holiday,
so long.
Yeah,
their
holiday
of a
lifetime.
lifetime.
Will of credit cards
With the kids.
and they're still paying the
Yeah,
payment
so
off.
people that went to the Maldives over Christmas and was a washout are still paying for it in March, April,
Easily.
May, June,
Yeah,
July.
on credit for it,
You'd
they
be fuming.
Yeah, it's bad enough if you
Whereas
pay
if you
cash
paid
for
for it in cash and you paid for it 6 months before, you're like, it's gone. I'm done.
But when that card payment still comes out, you're like, oh.
What was this
Hurts a
for
little bit
again?
more.
Do you remember that holiday we went on? It was an absolute washout in paradise. Oh, I felt so bad for people. I actually saw someone that obviously had a lot of money and they were like, sod this, we're going to Thailand. So they landed in they landed in the Maldives. They did 48 hours and they were like, the weather forecast they were showing you is terrible for the rest of the week. They got out of there.
Tell me you've got
so
FU money.
That's what did you use your F-off fund on?
F-off Maldives.
Diversion from the Maldives.
We were airlifted out of the Maldives.
That's not Spain. That's like a bucket list holiday that people would
that's
tens of thousands because I've tried myself. It's not cheap and it's a trek to get there as well from the UK.
God.
Absolute trek.
I actually looked where it was on the map the other day for the first time. I was like, I actually don't know where.
Yeah, it really is in the middle of nowhere, isn't it?
I still couldn't tell you.
Not as in the middle of nowhere as Mauritius.
Yeah, that was the other one that I was like,
Where is
where is that?
Yeah,
It's a long way south of Dubai.
We had a great time in Mauritius.
Yeah,
I
we
would
both
highly
like it,
recommend.
Again, spoiled. We used to work in travel. We were.
Oh,
You honeymooned there, to be fair.
Well, I honeymooned there, but I look at it sometimes like, could we go as a family of 4? And I'm like, no. So you just got to roll
You shrug your
sometimes,
shoulders.
Holly.
You could if you wanted to put it on credit.
Of course I could.
You could immediately, but
I could
you
go
just
tomorrow
know
if I
it's not
wanted
worth
to.
it.
But it's the way up of can we afford it? Would we love to go? Yeah, maybe we'll save up for a special birthday like a 40th. But I'd start planning it now. We've got 4 years, so I'd start sinking fund because.
But it is funny because even then, when you get there, with the Ibiza thing,
do you wanna spend
we could
it?
have,
Yes.
we had the money,
Yeah.
we have the money, and we go. And this is where, closing final statement. This is where paying for things in cash really makes you think about the decision you're making. Whereas
Yeah,
you're
it
paying
does.
for it on credit, it's pretend it's not yours. You'll deal with it
Clouds
later.
your judgment.
It's completely clouds your judgment, because you have, and the biggest way I picture this is, and I talk about this with car finance as well. Like, say we're talking about like, you know, a 40 grand brand new Audi that you're getting on finance. Someone put £40,000, like deal or no deal, on the table in front of you. I want the stack of cash with the tape wrapped around it,
Yeah.
with maybe a nice briefcase. Are you going to buy a 15 grand car,
Keep the rest.
even a 20, and go, thank you, 20 grand, I'm keeping you? You're going to do it. I really would be surprised
You're
if
not
you
going
went,
to push the
no,
40 grand.
I'm going to
Yeah,
get the
no.
keys to the car. You're not going to do it. So why would you do it if you financed it?
That's a good activity to do.
What, like, let's go
Get
withdraw.
40 grand.
Go try withdraw 40 grand out the your account. I know you've got it, so you've fine. Money bags over here.
Okay, community win. My first payday, I think, ever, where I've felt on top of my finances. My credit card has been completely paid off for the first time in about 3 years. I have over £500 in my emergency fund, and all of my pots are ready to go for the month ahead. This app and the community has been such a help and great motivation.
Woohoo! Love those. The pots and spaces and sinking funds.
Yeah.
If you've not cottoned onto them yet, like, you have
They
to.
are the game
They're
changer.
the best. I genuinely think biggest game changer of my like financial wellness journey. I love them. I talk about them every day. I update them. I look at them. I plan stuff. I plan fun stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's not boring stuff. Yes, there's accounts. Car tax might be in there, or car service, or car insurance, like the necessities. But there's such fun stuff in there.
Yeah.
That just
Also,
lets us do amazing things.
Really easy for you to forget that kick in the gut that you feel when something unexpected comes up and you don't have the money for. So whether it's like it was an expensive restaurant bill, or whether it's the car needed more things, or whether it's I'll tell you a big one. Like, you know, when people are fundraising and you want to be able to donate money, like I have a giving pot. And at any point, if someone's raising money, if someone needs something, if you want to give a really good tip because someone was just amazing, just like mentally not even a thing, just nah.
I come across as so bougie because whenever anyone says, "Oh, I'm raising for," I'm like, "Yeah, here you go," and they're like, "Really?" Like, usually I have to like ask people like 12 times to send the money
you
over,
can't
but
think about it, it's
because the
there.
money's there,
Yeah.
the life admin gets taken away, and you don't go, "Oh, I'll get around to it," and then forget, and then feel bad, and it sit on you. Friends that have done the stuff, I'm like, "Here you go, £50 or whatever it might be," because I've got a sinking fund, and I can truly, like, Laura taught me to do the gifting sinking fund, and it's one of my favourite ones.
Yeah.
Because when shit goes
imagine
down
getting
for
into
someone,
a position where you've got a comfortable income. So this isn't because you're struggling generally. You're comfortable. And someone says, "Oh, I'm doing marathon for, like, you know, raising money for cancer," you know, and you're like, "Oh my God, absolutely. Can I do it next week?"
Yeah,
Can't
can I pay
quite
you next
afford
week?
it.
Yeah.
Not because you can't afford it, because you was just chaotic and spending money there and
Yeah.
everywhere. Like, no. You should just, I mean, the giving one's the best one. Like, set aside, pick 20 quid at first, pick 50 quid, whatever the amount is, just pick something first, put it in a space and feel the magic when you give it. Because the fact, like Holly, that you said, you take away the mental load, it's like
When someone
transferred
drops
before
a just giving link in,
done.
click, done.
Because
Move the space
it's
over.
not
Yeah.
oh, is there enough in the
Weighing
account?
it
I'm
up.
getting paid next week. What bills are going to come out? It's, it's waiting for you here. It's just,
You said even starting with the £5, even when you're on the lowest budget
yeah,
ever.
I like that on, like,
you
for
can
giving
say
a
yes.
tip, or if someone's like collecting,
Yeah.
you just move it back into your current
Kids'
account.
sponsorship forms today.
Oh yeah, I've done that today.
We had a space for it. Whereas, like, if I didn't, I'd be like, "Oh, can we afford
actually,
it?"
we did that. They were raising for charity, and you meant to go around the family, but I feel like we go around the family a lot for like different bits of
Sometimes
sponsorships
we
and
just go,
stuff,
"I
so
take the full
it's in the pot.
thing."
We
Yeah.
can just give it. Yeah.
Exciting. If you'd like to tell us your win, head to the community in the app or email it to thevault@financielle.com. Okay, next dilemma. Am I behind on salary progression? I changed jobs last year after being with my previous company for 6 years. During that time, I gained responsibility, led projects, was seconded into a higher role, and completed leadership training. Despite consistently good performance reviews, none of this translated into a higher salary. When I left, I was earning 35k, which had only been raised the year before. I moved into a new role in the same field with a salary of 42k, but it's hybrid, and since my contract is based on site, I cover my own accommodation and fuel costs. After expenses, the pay rise has almost disappeared. To make things worse, I found out I'm on a lower salary band than my less experienced teammates. I'm 32 with a master's degree and 6+ years of experience. We bought our first home last year in a more expensive area with good schools based on advice that this would be good long term. But with high interest rates, renovations and little budget excess, it feels tight financially. My focus is now on increasing our income, but I'm unsure what to aim for. Should I push for a raise, and if so, what expectations are realistic? And should I be earning more by now, given my experience? Also, can we talk about how frustrating it is when job adverts don't post salary ranges? I'd love any insight onto salary progression and what steps to take next.
This is a really good dilemma. I thought you were going to say that because you were listing all the things like I do this, and they're not giving me a pay rise, and I was going to be like, leave. We've already left. Yeah, I know. And then they commented the thing. I was like, oh, well done, ticked. You've already left that role. So
when she talks about like the mounting expenses, whilst it's very, very valid and helps us to think we need to earn as much as we can. It's like a balance. Like you need to earn good money in a job you like with a balance that you like. People talk about balance, but what I mean is like, you could go work on the oil rigs, not see friends or family. You might be afraid of the sea. and you like
or small spaces. When I think of oil rigs, is that sound on TikTok? Yo.
So that's danger money, and like it's danger money, but it's also like far away money. So there's like earn lots of money, compromises come with that. There could be a job that you really, really don't like and that pays a lot of money. Again, it's not just going to be sustainable, maybe for a period of time, but it's just not going to be. And on the flip side, you can be really enjoying your job and really like the balance that it can give you, but it's not hitting the salary. And so you do have to, I call it like optimizing your income. We want you to earn the most you can earn doing the thing you like, giving you a quality of life that you like. And I say that very, very carefully because you're still gonna have to work hard. Like, I don't like this and it's dead easy and we just take along. No, like you should work hard. It's good for us to work hard. So because of her mounting expenses, it is her job to optimize her income. It's never your employer's job to optimize your income because you've got growing expenses you decided to get the renovations. Like,
don't ever go in.
I
think we have mentioned it before, haven't we? Where people have said, my washing machine broke and then we moved house and it's really expensive to live in this area and groceries have gone up and it's like, nah,
you've got an extra kid.
That's not your employer's problem. Like, it's absolutely not. So if you're ever going to go in for a salary negotiations, please don't ever comment on the fact that your costs might have gone up.
Even if it's true.
It's really annoying. It is. All our costs are going up, but it's not your employer's responsibility.
It's especially annoying if your employer also is not looking at inflationary pay rises or decent pay rises.
Yeah.
And technically, really weirdly, that is linked to cost of living as well, but don't mention it.
It's because that's a blanket thing for everyone. That's not based on individual performance or an individual's costs have gone up, therefore I deserve a pay rise because I've moved house and my mortgage is more. It's like, you just can't go in like that. And people do.
Well. Yeah,
we hear friends that are managers and people go into them and like, I want a pay rise. Okay, can you evidence why? Like, why do you think? Well, it's like my rent's gone up. It's like, sorry. You have to benchmarking. We've talked about it before. You're asking us, should I be paid more? I've got this much experience. I've done a master's. Me stands you in good stead to say like you deserve a well-paid salary. I don't know what sector you're in.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
But you have to go out and do the work. Like you've already found out that one of your peers that is less experienced than you gets paid more.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable. Also really hard to go to your employer to say that you've discussed salaries because a lot of them put it in their like rules that you don't do that. So how you navigate that, you need to be mindful of that. But the fact that someone with less experience is getting paid more than you already something that you need to address, but you have to go and benchmark, look at your sector, look at other jobs. And she said it's really frustrating when employers don't put salary brackets and bands on them.
On the job.
I feel like that's changing a little bit if you're on LinkedIn, which is painful at the moment. I feel for everybody that has to navigate your way around that. People are calling out companies that don't put salaries on, like recruitment companies are getting really frustrated. They're not getting the leads. People don't want to go through a big application process. not knowing what salary they're going for, it's not acceptable. So I feel like that's changing a little bit. And just if you want to apply for a role, ring up the hiring person and say, what are the salary expectations for this role? Because I would be expecting X. Like, go and benchmark, what are you worth, and go for it.
And
don't negotiate you down. Don't lowball yourself, because you can only go down.
Salary journeys aren't linear as well. So, sometimes you earn more, sometimes you come down, sometimes, a salary that you were offered was unrealistic for the wider market, but that company needed you in that time and were willing to pay more. If there's a supply and demand issue, people might say, we can get lots of people at this. Like, it is just a bit of it's ebbs and flows. And so sometimes it's not, don't expect every single year for the rest of your life, salaries go up, stuff changes. So I think it's being pragmatic about that. But like Holly said, benchmarking and understanding what's right and having open, honest conversations. Like, you don't, like Holly said, you don't have to say, I've been chatting to my friend and he's paid more, but you need to say, am I paid fairly for this role? Like, across the team, am I? Because if they lie,
Well, yeah.
Do you know what I would do now? I'm so brash now. I would go and find someone in another company that does my job and be like, can I just ask you transparently? I'm going for a pay rise, especially.
Even if it's just brackets, even if it's what kind of, what am I looking at?
Can you let me know in your company, like, what? People don't care. They'll be like,
super interesting that when they've talked about how they left for a pay rise, but the net impact wasn't. And actually, that's really important when people are understanding. And you won't always know that, like, something could have been home working and then it switches to in office, and that's for you to decide whether that's appropriate or not. But lots of people that work from home nowadays don't understand what it was like. Like, I can't comprehend what my petrol bill, petrol's gone up a lot, actually. It's probably similar.
And parking.
But you used to pay for parking, you used to pay for petrol, you used to end up paying for lunches here, there and everywhere.
Your insurance
you used to pay for extra.
Higher.
Even insurance was higher because mileage was higher.
Yeah.
Also, like, childcare, you sometimes have to pay for longer.
Yeah, to extend the hours.
You used to have to commute home again to get back to the nursery, and you'd paid for the extra top-up time. There used to be so many extra costs, and I can imagine that someone that's not used to those costs suddenly moving into a role where there's a lot more on-site work, you're kind of like, oh my God. And so when you are looking at a pay rise, what is actually the net pay rise, which means take home and after all your expenses and stuff.
Yeah.
Is it worth that move? Because sometimes a lower salary but a cushier arrangement with less expenses, may be important. But also trajectory. So it's not necessarily about, you want to make sure you're paid fairly for what you're doing, but it's also about, like, what's the possibility here? And ultimately, and we have always said this, and she's done the work, but you tend to, if you want to jump up the salary brackets, we need to leave companies. We do. Like, the facts say that. I'm not going to say you're always going to be happy. Sometimes I've seen lots of people chase the money and hop around. Yeah. They get a bit of a reputation. Your CV looks like that as well. You look like you can't really stick at anything, but you've got the bag, and this is all about balance. Like, what is it ultimately you want? It doesn't sound like she's like, I want to win loads of money and I'm going to move around.
No, she just wants to be fairly paid. Yeah. Which is right within her right. Absolutely.
So she needs to, like I said, do the work, get the benchmarking, and engineer conversations with, like, pragmatic people that's like, I want to be paid fairly.
And I know I'm not. You can say, and I know I'm not. I don't need to go into detail.
And through,
investigative
some chats, it feels like I'm not. So I think it's for you to go and wait. I put it on them.
Yeah. Like, I don't have to say, so I want
this.
I've done my homework.
So can you, like, I want you to look into it, and if and do a bit of an investigating, and if it becomes apparent that I am, can we look to correct it?
Yeah.
And then secondly, like, what's the opportunity? The other final thing to say on this, and Holly, you say this a lot, is we're the main character in our lives. Businesses are busy in big places, and sometimes it's not a personal thing. They've not sat and gone, oh, we can get away with this. This is male or female, by the way. They just kind of, you have to advocate for yourself. No one's going to come along and change your life for you, and if they do, they're a guardian angel, because often that doesn't happen.
You will get them. They're like,
but not
once
always.
in a lifetime.
Not always. So you have to advocate for yourself, and it's not always. I think sometimes women take it a bit more personally. Sometimes
because of what's happened to us.
Used to being overlooked so often and underpaid.
Yeah, we just see a pattern of behaviour that's men get paid more, and we talked about on a pod a few months ago, where men apply for jobs where they're only 60% qualified and women wait till they're 100% qualified, and then the pay disparity is then even bigger because someone that's less qualified,
overqualified, underpaid, and the other person's
so you get why women have a bit of a, like, we're on the defence already, and we take it personally. We're like, women don't get paid because of the the information that's coming out on the gender pay gap and whatnot. Like, you've got a right to feel like that. Just Be careful how you position it. Do your homework, benchmark, speak to if you've got recruiter friends, HR friends,
get intel.
What's good? How can I approach this in the right way so that I'm, get the best possible outcome?
And keep feeding me stuff that's out there. Like, it doesn't mean you've got your eyes ready to leave. It just means you're keeping a tab on, not just being loyal and they should be rewarding me.
Yeah.
It's no.
And how many people do we know that have been let go from jobs, like they've been made redundant unexpectedly, and the CV's like dusty, out of date, not up to scratch, not done any courses in the last however many years.
Keep fresh.
Have just coasted in the job, and then rugs pulled out from under them, and they're like, Jesus Christ, they're having to navigate this whole new world, like always
reinvent themselves.
Yeah.
Like it's like
reinvent yourself every year. Always update, have a fresh CV, like write your projects down.
Oh my God, I don't have a CV. I'm probably unemployable, to be fair now.
Oh, for 100%.
What, me or you? Like you look.
Both of us. If someone was like, "Can you just?" I'd be like, "Can you just?" Oh yeah, no. Oh, it's scary, really, isn't it? Actually, I might do my CV.
What about this pod so we can keep doing the pod?
I might do my CV tonight.
You're going to spray it with perfume like Elle Woods off. Lip plant. It's pink and scented.
Oh.
Hopefully we helped her. But don't take advice from us.
We are not qualified.
Any final words today?
As Holly's singing Perfect Day is probably enough.
Yeah, can you fade us out?
No. No, check. I just keep your eye out. Keep your eye on the ball. Keep your CV up to date.
But your income is the most important, one of the most important numbers. You don't want to compromise it for quality of job, happiness, whatever. But do not leave money on the table, because every investment, every excess comes from a good income. Every pension contribution percentage comes from a good income. Yeah. It's all connected to income. And so if you're sat there like hoping someone one day will reward you, then they're not going to, they're unlikely to. So you have to go and do the work and make it a project. And you don't, like it's a one-off, and then you don't do it for a while, and then you do it again.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's all for this episode. The Vault is now closed. And just a quick disclaimer, The Vault is just a chat around life and money topics. We're not giving financial advice.